Hello. Hello, air signs. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back. I want to apologize for the last video as it cut off pretty early in. I am still figuring out how to work with this program, OBS, and integrating it into the YouTube software. So I've figured out that I need to restart the broadcast if I lose signal like that again. So if that does happen, there will just be two parts to the video, and you can see that I've done that with subsequent signs. But I knew that I was going to be doing another air sign video very soon, and so I didn't feel like it was too crucial to go back and try to recapture what was lost. That is kind of the thing about live entertainment that we seem to have forgotten in the digital era. So, here I am, and let's begin. I am going to start out by lighting some incense in order to purify through element of air the space and set the intention for the reading. So thank you for joining me today. We will be doing the air signs today. That is, of course, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And I do have then extended videos that go up on the members channel that involve the crystal scrying and going over the energies in a more general way. And this is super hit incense, which increases the powers of each astrological sign. So now we've purified the space. And the cards that I will be using for your reading today, air signs, are the Flux Arcana Tarot by Micah Ulrich. I really enjoy working with these cards. They're very minimalist, and I think they really suit the air sign readings. I do try to use decks that will work with the specific elemental energies in a very harmonious way. Sorry, I'm I kind of picked at my finger. So, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And I am just taking notes as to when I start each sign's reading. Gemini. I'd already shuffled these cards quite a bit, so let's see what we have in store for you for this upcoming period of time. So, in the current situation, we have the Hierophant reversed, and this card is crossed by the Queen of Wands. This is a very strong fire sign energy. So you could have fire in your chart. This could also be somebody who's very charismatic, somebody who is a sparkling conversationalist. And these could be traits that you have that are aiding you in the current situation, but they could also represent a person who is helping you out in this current situation, or who is a co-player in the current state of affairs. The Hierophant card can be about circumventing or subverting the status quo. It can also be about divorce and dissolution of a marriage. It can be about not listening to guidance from one's higher power or one's spiritual guides as well. So it could be a period of time for you where you are kind of at a loss in your spiritual life. Not necessarily a dark night of the soul per se, but rather a period of time. Here, can I turn you just a little bit? There we go. It could just be a period of time where you are not attuned to your higher power in a way that could be very helpful to you. I do see, however, with this Queen of Wands energy, that either you or someone around you is very charming, very socially capable, and possibly putting oneself out there to network with other people. People could also see you as a bit of an iconoclast, so that is another thing you could get from that Hierophant in the reverse as well. But this does have a tendency to kind of throw people off and can possibly make them a little uncomfortable. Here in the past, we have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is a card about active combat. And when it's in the upright like this, it is about a decisive victory, but it looks like this is something that you are just coming out of now, because the card is upright. If it was in the reversed, I would say that you were leaving all of these things far behind you, and they were no longer affecting you. But because this card is showing up here upright, that's showing me that you are still kind of dealing with this very combative atmosphere. The Three of Swords is more like arguments and disputes, but the Five of Swords, there's a clear winner and a clear loser. Here in the position of the Imam Silai, we have the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands is a card of victory that speaks to this period of time immediately following what we're seeing with that Five of Swords. So you're waiting for this victory. You're waiting to have the recognition, so to speak, that you are triumphant in this situation. Now, that's the reality of the situation, but let's find out more about your specific perspectives in the situation. And we have the Five of Cups there. So even though you have been victorious in a situation, you're disappointed because the recognition isn't there. So it's possible that whoever you were in conflict with, they are not recognizing that you're victorious in this situation. It could be that those people have left your life and now you're kind of in a situation where there isn't anyone around to really notice your triumph in this situation, your success. Now, from the outside, looking in, we do have the Sun card. And even though this card is reversed, it is so good to see the Sun card showing up in a reading. So I would take this to mean that people do recognize your triumph over whatever this very combative situation in the recent past was. With the Five of Swords and the Hierophant in the reverse, I would be inclined to say that this is something like a divorce, just because of the nature of those energies. And it could have been a very contentious divorce. But it could be just something very much like a divorce as well. Here in the future, we have the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups, when we're speaking about a romantic reading, this is the potential for new love to come rushing into you. However, if you are using this general reading for business or your other endeavors in life, the Knight of Cups is a card urging you powerfully to listen to your heart and listen to your gut when it comes to situations and feeling them out. Listen to the emotions that you attach to these situations. Whatever your snap judgments are, listen to that response and ask more questions. Why am I having this feeling about it? It could be that a situation is not particularly well aligned to your purposes. And so the Knight of Cups is reminding us that we have these feelings for a reason and that it's important to listen to them. Here in the Hopes and Fears, we have the Page of Swords in the reverse. Page of Swords in the reverse is about being afraid that somebody might be spying on you. Oh, hi, Shaman Knight. My chat is over here on my computer screen, so I just noticed your message. Yes, I do feel like it's much better to find out that somebody isn't into you, and then you can stop pouring your own feelings into something that isn't there. You could be afraid that people are spying on you. You could also be afraid that people are passing around misinformation about you behind your back. The Page of Swords isn't strictly a card about gossip, But when it's showing up reversed, there is the potential there for misinformation being spread. So just be aware of that. It is in the hopes and fears, so one would hope that's not going on. Here is the midheaven position. And the midheaven position is the eventual outcome of the card that we have down here in the Imam Seelai. These are the events that are going to lead to this eventual destiny. And we have the King of Swords upright. This is a very strong showing for you within your reading, Gemini, that we have this strong air sign. King of Swords is literally air of air energy. So strongly elemental air energy card coming out as you triumphant in your reading. And then we do have the final outcome card represented as the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is not a bad card, but it does speak to still existing within a realm where other people are trying to affect our success, right? So the Seven of Wands, you have achieved some pinnacle of success. Perhaps not the highest pinnacle you can achieve, but some amount of success, and others are targeting you because of that. So, because these readings cover a non-specified period of time, obviously King of Swords is going to be your final outcome. King of Swords is much more like a Libra card, so you might also have Libra placements, and you might also be dealing with situations having to do with justice or the legal system, but you will be triumphant in those. And the King of Swords is a strong air card for you, Gemini. That's going to be a final outcome. As far as like how far down the road are we actually looking, the midheaven is going to be the furthest away for you. And then we have more like the final outcome is going to be somewhere in here, and the future card is right in front of you, right? So that's kind of how we can look at these readings. All right, Gemini, so that's going to conclude your portion of the air signs reading. Let's move on to the sign of Libra. And I am just turning the cards over here because when I go to do the extended, which is over in the members portion of the channel, I will be looking at all of the cards that I've pulled for all the air signs together. And I will also be using the crystal to do a bit of scrying to get any more information out of the reading that might be available. All right, Libra, so now let's shuffle the cards for you a bit, and I will deal out your reading. So just go ahead and set your intention, what it is that you'd like to achieve toward the end of this year, toward the beginning of the next. Starting out with the World card, very strong showing. Ooh, we've got some very strong cards for you, Libra, right off the bat. cracking it out into center field with this one. Oh yes, we've got a lot of major arcana for you, a lot of pentacles for you. So let's see what we have going on here. Now Libra, for your reading, I'm actually going to start in the past. We have the Seven of Pentacles there, and this card is upright. This card is about evaluation of the amount of energy that you've put into a certain endeavor in exchange for the compensation you are receiving. So a lot of times when this card comes out reversed, I actually call it the quit your job card because you're not getting paid fairly. But in this case, Libra, with this card in your past, let me just take my timestamp notes very quickly before I forget. So with this Seven of Pentacles in the past, I think recently you've done a bit of evaluation as far as what amount of work are you putting into situations, and what compensation are you getting out of that. And that's not a bad process to undergo. It could be leading up to tax season. It could just be evaluating what your options might be within a certain career field. And I do think that that evaluation will pay off for you, because what we have in your current state of affairs is the World card crossed by the Chariot. So let's talk about the World card first. This is completion of a cycle. This is fixed sign energy, so it's a very stable energy. It's associated with the planet of Saturn and the element of Earth. And we have these 4 fixed signs represented within the corners of the card here. The World card, she is a mirror, an upside down mirror of the Hanged Man. No longer sacrificing oneself to obtain this higher knowledge, but rather having gotten to the point where you have achieved that. It's a very good card for achievement. It is somewhat aligned with the Two of Wands in that you have the world within your hands at this time. Now, because we also have the Chariot crossing, the Chariot is victory, so that is also a very good sign. But remember I said that the World card is associated with the very slow-moving energy of Saturn. So when we bring in this Chariot card as a crossing card, we're restoring that mobility. So I see mobility for you at this time, and I do see completions and victory and success. Very good so far, Libra. Down here in the area of the Imam Sili, we have the Knight of Wands. This is pure elemental fire energy within the court cards of the minor arcana. So the Knight of Wands is fire of fire. This could be like burning the candle at both ends. It could be a time when you're embracing your sexuality to a greater extent, especially for masculine sexual urges. But it could just be the energy that you need to propel you forward at this time. So the Knight of Wands would be the gasoline use to fuel this chariot here. From your perspective, this is your perspective on the current situation, Libra. We have the Nine of Pentacles, and it's coming out in the reverse. There is a stability financially. You're more than capable of supporting yourself and possibly have overcome some obstacles to get here. But even though you have this financial success, there could be other things in your life that cannot be purchased with money that you feel like are lacking from your life. So it's a very good card, but it showing up here in the reverse tells me that there's something still unfulfilled about this energy. Here, from an outside perspective, we have the Three of Wands. Why did I say Three of Wands? This is the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is a very good card when it comes to group projects. Working on group projects, it also has to do with building up your professional reputation, because what better way to do that than through group work, right? Anytime you're working with other people, that is going to boost your professional reputation, building references. These people know what I am capable of achieving, and they will recommend me highly, right? So I think those who are working with you currently feel like you have a very good professional reputation and would be more than happy to recommend you for other things. Here in the future, we have the King of Pentacles in the reverse. So when cards show up in a future position and they are reversed, often that means that we don't yet see the mechanisms by which these events are going to come to play in our lives. So the King of Pentacles showing up here could be a very high level of financial success that you still don't quite see how you're going to bridge that gap between where you are now and where you will be in the future. But another thing about this King of Pentacles, and this is something that I've picked up from watching Minnow Pond Tarot, so I certainly don't mind revealing my sources there. I try not to steal too much from other readers, but I think it's important to learn from others. That Chris often says that the King of Pentacles is somebody who is a little bit over-reliant on the safety of what has worked in the past. So I would say also be mindful of that as you are moving forward, because we also have this very stable energy, very fixed energy of the World card. So if this Nine of Pentacles is not enough for you, really embrace this Knight of Wands energy as a source of new inspiration to carry you to the point that you would like to be. Okay, Libra, so now we're going to look at the hopes and fears. And we have the Nine of Wands in the reverse there. Now, I think that because this card is about being very guarded and it's showing up in the reverse and in your nightmares, I'm kidding, that you are afraid of being, having a blind spot in your defenses. That somebody's going to, now this is not a Seven of Swords, shame on you. This is like the Nine of Wands reversed, shame on me. Not that you would not see somebody's motivations, perhaps in a situation, but that you wouldn't be able yourself to circumvent any trouble that might arise. Here in the midheaven position, oh, I don't want to give it away, it's a good card. This is going to be the result of this period with the Knight of Wands. You have the Lover's card, and it's showing up in the reverse. So you have so many pentacles here in the bottom half of the reading, which is kind of like the current situations, the immediate past, and the immediate future. And when this Nine of Pentacles pops up in the reverse, that tells me that you might feel like love is lacking from your life, or that what you really want is a solid and committed relationship, or even just somebody that you feel an especial affinity for. So the Lover's card, as I mentioned before, when these cards come out in the reverse, it could just be that we haven't quite seen this, whatever it could be, whatever that potential energy is. A lot of times the cards are upright if we can kind of see that occurring in our lives. And the cards will be reversed for when we're not quite sure what it is that is coming into our life very soon, right? So here with the Lover's card in the reverse, I would say that it's very possible that if you are looking for love, that eventually that is what is going to come into your life. Now, for those of you who are either coupled or for whatever reason not looking for love, the Lover's card can also be a choice between two things that you will be offered. And this will be an offer of a choice. Nothing about this looks like somebody's going to be twisting your leg about it. And finally, Libra, we have another strong showing of energy in your reading, in which the Justice card is coming out in the final position, the final outcome. And this card is coming out reversed, so it could mean a few different things. There could be things, Libra, that you will need to do that are outside of your normal nature in order to really achieve and receive what it is that you truly want. You know, this air sign energy can be very analytical. It is an active energy. Sometimes it's important to embrace more the emotional side of things and to embrace your more passive attributes, passive or feminine, or whatever it is that is the opposite of the flaming sword of justice. And balance. There might be things that end up out of balance that will need to be restored. This could be an eventual restoration of balance. And it could be that there is justice coming for you that you have not yet seen, or that if you are in litigation with somebody, that justice may end up being in their favor. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that will only be the case if that's what's going to serve everyone's higher purpose here, because I see that you have plenty. I see that you are headed for the financial and emotional rewards you desire. The Lover's card here, paired with this Justice card, really makes it seem like all these things are very much up to you, Libra. And sometimes the cards show up in the reverse because it is up to the individual how they're going to proceed. So I would urge you to focus a little less on the black and white in situations and the dualities at play. I would advise you to be a little less active, maybe a little more passive, maybe giving into your emotional side a little bit more. And then we can find the balance between these two energies, right? Remember that the Lover's card is actually the card of fellow air sign Gemini. So, interesting reading, Libra. And I do appreciate you joining me today. So, now we're going to move on to the air sign of Aquarius. And I'm going to turn these cards over, and then when I go over to the extended, we will look at all of the cards together, and I will do some crystal scrying about them. So if that's something that interests you, that's going to be available over on the members portion of the channel. So Aquarius, let me shuffle your cards a bit. I'm going to write down some time stamps. And we shall see what is in store for you for the time period ahead. Oh, we've got a jumper. I do think I should shuffle them a bit more, but usually when the jumper pops out, I'm like, oh, that's the end of the shuffle. And just set your intention about what you would like to see in the year ahead. Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot going on here so far. Very interesting. Oh, all the air signs, all three of you air signs came out really strong in your readings. I like to see that. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So again, I'm going to start in the past. And we shall see where those energies take us. We've got the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is a definitive and can be a very painful ending. A lot of times, though, I find that the more necessary this Ten of Swords is, the less painful it will be. So, if this is something that really, really needs to end, a lot of times by the time it's over, everybody involved is just grateful to see it go. So that's possible. It is in the upright here. So when these past energies show up upright, there's an implication there that this is an ending that's it's started already, but it's ongoing into the current situations. So what we have here in the current state of affairs, we have the Judgment card, and it's reversed. This could be like not getting a promotion at work, even though you felt like you were in the running. It could be like the first 3 times when Kim K failed the baby bar. Now remember, she did eventually pass, so there's hope for us all, right? It could be a situation where you were in the process of initiating into something, and for whatever reason, it's gotten off track. And crossing this, we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is air of water energy. It's a very nurturing, very actively nurturing energy. Very paternal. Somebody who really cares and takes care of others. So it's possible that if you were in the process of an initiation, if the person who is initiating you is too soft on you, you're not really going to be tried to the extent that is necessary. It could also be that if you are the King of Cups here, that you have been too fostering of others in your life, and it's possible that you are giving away too much of your energy to other people. And the third possibility here is that the King of Cups represents your own father. And this would be especially true if your father is a water sign. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. And so there could be this ongoing struggle as to, I don't want you to have a job because it's interfering with your studies. So there's potentials for situations like that there as well. And in the Imam Silai, so the Imam Silai is the events which are going to be leading up to the destiny. So the future's right in front of your face. We've got the final outcome, which is kind of out here somewhere. And then your midheaven or destiny is like way out here. And the Imam Silai is where you sit right now. And that's why it is beneath you. And we have this 2 of Pentacles, and it's reversed. So this really speaks to a lack of balance in your life right now. 2 of Pentacles can also be about business partnerships. So there could be a situation where a business partnership is dissolving as well. But obviously, if things are vastly out of balance in a business relationship, then that will be the case, that it will be in trouble. So it's very interesting here that we have these very almost disparate opinions about the current situation. So your opinion about the current situation is represented by this Emperor card here, Aquarius. And then the outside perspective on the current situation is represented by the Empress card upright. And this is very interesting because obviously they're a pair. We've got Divine Masculine reversed. we've got divine feminine upright. Your perception being divine masculine reversed is very harsh. This is a very harsh energy. It is very like almost like a fascist or a dictatorial energy, such that you might feel a great deal of oppression at this time. And especially, I'll show you a glimpse of this card, but we'll talk a little bit more about it in just a moment. In your hopes and fears, we've got the Ten of Wands in the reverse. So, and that is the diagonal placement to the Emperor. So that tells me that from your perspective, you perceive that you are oppressed, and you might perceive that undue burdens are being placed on you at this time. And that really speaks to these energies with the Judgment card and the King of Cups. That could be a lot about a father figure. This Empress card, so this could be people's perceptions of you, Aquarius. It's a divine feminine energy. It is a creative energy. It could, I'm also hearing, you're just like your mother. And that could be whether you're a man or a woman. Obviously, some men do grow up to be just like their mothers, and still quite masculine, but having that feminine side to them. The Empress is somebody who there is the impregnation, the gestation, and the eventual parturition. So it's the kind of manifestation that is a passive manifestation. It requires fertilization either through parthenogenesis or from an outside source. And it requires the element of time to make everything come together. So the Empress here, representing all those things, it could very well be the kind of long-term goal commitment that parents do often see in their children. So I'm getting a great sense that for a lot of you Aquarians, this does have to do with a family situation. Even if you're an adult, oftentimes our parents do still have a great effect on our lives or are very involved in our lives. Now, Aquarius, I can tell that you don't see this quite yet because this card is showing up in the reverse. But you are going to have quite a few options open to you in the future here. I apologize. This is the Eight of Cups. This is about a departure. So, options, yes. I thought this was the Seven of Cups, but I have misread it. It is the Eight of Cups. And so even it's not quite clear to me at this time. If you are living with your parents, I think you could be moving out. I think for some of you, this Ten of Swords could have represented having to move back in with the parents. And then this Eight of Cups in the reverse is going to represent moving back out on your own again. So those are some possibilities for you Aquarians. In other situations, I do think that whatever this is, even if this person has a lot of respect for you, even if they see your potential, I think that the burden of their scrutiny is going to end up being too great for you, Aquarius. As I mentioned before, we have the Ten of Wands in the reverse, in the position where we're looking at your hopes and fears, right? So that Ten of Wands showing up in the reverse just means that you would like nothing more than to cast off oppression and burdens. Here in the midheaven, remember I mentioned that's way out here in the future, right? So far away, you almost can't even see it. It's so far in the distance. Here in the future, Aquarius, you are showing up in your own power quite strongly as the star, achieving your hopes and dreams. And I feel like the only reason that this card is coming out reversed is because it is that far in the future that there are going to have to be a lot of things that happen in between, especially like Eight of Cups. I don't know if you're even actively moving out of this situation yet, or actively planning to your moves out of the situation. You might be saying like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh, I just don't think this is fair. But you might not have gotten to that point yet where you're actually planning how you're going to move forward from here. So once that falls into place, I think this, where you're coming into your power, is going to become that much stronger. And in the future, something that we do see here is the Two of Cups. Now, unlike the King of Cups, this is going to be a much more evenly weighted partnership. So where we have the Two of Pentacles in the reverse in the Imam Sili, that's an imbalance of power also. And here with the Two of Cups coming out in the final outcome position, you are headed for, it's either going to be a partner, it could be a roommate, it could be it could be a partner either romantic or in business. But this is going to be somebody coming into your life who is much more evenly balanced with you than whoever this King of Cups represents. Now, the King of Cups is not a bad person. This person does have, everybody's got their shadow side, certainly, but overall, the King of Cups is a provider. He's somebody who's very concerned with the well-being of the people within his care. However, Aquarius, because you are in a position where you're going to be taking care of yourself, you don't need someone to take care of you. You need someone who can also take care of themselves so that the two of you can come together and form a beautiful partnership. Thank you, air signs, for bearing with me and my technical issues. I hope that you enjoyed this reading, and I will be going over now to the extended on the members portion of the channel, and those can be found in the members only playlist, and you will be able to see how I read all of these cards then together and in conjunction with some crystal scrying. So if that interests you, you are invited. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again very soon.